Good afternoon everybody, Tim here again for Beef It Up Australia and Let's Get Rural. And we're here in the beautiful little town of Colbinabbin. And today we're at the pub and we're talking to Julie. How are you, Julie?
Well, thanks Tim, how are you?
Oh, beautiful, beautiful day, isn't it?
Oh, it's glorious, good to be alive.
It is indeed. So how long have you been in Colbinabbin?
Well, I was born and bred here, as a matter of fact.
Born and bred? So you lived here most of your life?
Well, about the first 17 years, and then I went away to uni and work and had babies and all that sort of stuff, and 40 years later, came back.
Came back?
Yeah, came back to do the pub.
Oh, you can't leave the place, can you?
No.
so, how long has the pub been here?
Well, did you have to ask me that?
Yep.
I think it's about 110 or 11 years old.
From what I was reading before, it was about 1909 was the first licensee of the hotel.
You're going to make a liar of me now, aren't you?
No, not really. No, you're hitting the mark there about 110, 111 years old.
That's what I tell everyone.
Yeah, no, so is this
Sounds good.
Is this the original pub?
I believe there was a pub built up at Colbinabbin West, and then when the train, it was realised the train would stop here in Colbinabbin, they brought the pub down to the town.
Did they bring it on the train?
But our historian, Ron McTaggart, will indeed tell the truth about that story.
On the side of the pub at the front, there's a painting. Is that in remembrance for somebody?
No, that was just actually done yesterday.
Was it?
By Tim Botel, who painted the silos.
Wow.
You're referring to the Tom Roberts shearing of the rams?
Yep.
Or part thereof?
Yep.
He took 2 days to paint it. Well, there's a lot of connection to sheep farming in this community.
So around here they do sheep and mostly grain?
Sheep, grain, and now there's grapes as well.
Grapes?
You
don't want to stand on one. It'll give it a little wine.
Does the jokes get any better?
Yeah, not really.
Okay.
No, but we like to have a little bit of fun while we do these as well, so it's good.
Nice.
You can't go into everything being serious all the time. Nobody will take any notice, and then they'll lose interest. But no, it's a beautiful little place. We notice there's a church over the road as well.
Still very active, they are.
It is. I didn't see it open today.
No, not today.
No?
Sunday morning.
Just once a week?
I think so. Well, everything's by Zoom at the moment.
Yes, unfortunately.
Even the choir.
So with the impact of droughts and everything else, and especially with COVID, that has made a lot of impact and everything else on the town and what people can get out and do and can't do. It's affecting all different types of generations. So how do you think that's all affecting Colbinabbin?
Well, we're pretty lucky, really. We had 0 cases in the town. Very proud of it. And we could more or less carry on with what we've always done. Well, the only thing that changed for us as a hotel is we had to do takeaway. Instead of people coming to dine in, we did lots of takeaway food. And we opened for breakfast, and the renos were going on as well, so it was, you know, gift of time, really.
So you've still kept going as best as you can.
But I think living in the country, we're so lucky, you know, we can still go out and walk in the fresh air, and the farmers could just go on about their business. And
So how long have you been in the pub?
Coming up in March, it'll be 3 years.
Who's the biggest local character, biggest larrikin?
The most colourful character I think that comes into the pub would have to be someone who goes by the name of Slab. His real name's Chris Ryan.
Slab, so that's what he drinks?
Well, I'm not sure how his name. I'm not sure how he got his name. But he knows a lot about everything. He's a local agronomist, so has a good, rapport with all the farmers, and they have to do lots of crop inspections, and we know what that means.
So what does an agronomist do?
Agronomist looks after the quality of the crops and the ground and all that sort of agricultural stuff.
Oh, right. That's really good. But a lot of the changes that you've made to the pub since you've been here?
It's been a total rebuild of the inside.
I was going to say, because the bricks look the same.
Oh, except for the exterior walls, about the only original thing. It's held up by a lot of steel beams, which look great in there. New kitchen, new everything, new laundry.
Yeah.
Knocked out a lot of walls, and during this last lockdown they did the bar, so that was good timing.
As long as the bar holds up and holds the beer, that's all that matters, yeah.
Best beer in Australia, as a matter of fact.
Tell you what, it's nice and cold.
Yeah, nice and cold.
Definitely.
You know the secret.
Nice cold fridge.
Yeah.
You got to have the cold fridge for the beer to be cold.
Cold glasses.
Yeah.
Cold glasses, and I keep the lines very clean.
So I noticed with the beer garden and everything else, it looks beautiful out here. What have you done out here for that?
Well, there wasn't a blade of grass here before.
Wasn't it?
No.
So it's all imported?
Yeah. Ready rolled turf.
So it's imported from another place?
From Temptation in Rochester.
Oh, it's just up the road?
Yes.
Keep everything community?
Oh yeah, we shop locally.
We do indeed.
We got all our meat locally too.
Really?
Butcher in Rushworth. Perry's Butcher, best meat in Australia.
Is it?
Mm.
I'll have to try that one out.
Mm.
I think when we leave here, might go there and grab some steak and then go home.
Sounds good.
Definitely.
Bloody good steak. We get our Scotch fillet from there.
Oh, nice. I love me rump.
Oh, I don't mind a bit of rump.
Rump and T-bone.
We have hump days, rump day here.
Yeah?
On a Wednesday.
Well, it's no good having hump day, rump day on another day.
Well...
Considering people call hump day Wednesday.
Yeah, well, some people I had to explain what hump day was.
Yeah, and I bet you they took the wrong idea to start with.
Yes, and they weren't young people either that asked me.
Well, no, you'd be surprised,
Anyway.
I tell you. But what about accommodation? Because I noticed it's a hotel motel.
Accommodation, we have 3 beautiful motel rooms there. During COVID, we decided we'd do a bit of painting, so we're still doing that. Yeah, you can come here, have dinner, have a few local wines, all local wines.
I've noticed there's a few wineries around here.
Yes, and nice cold beers, and then you can just walk across the road. Not even the road, a little track there.
I noticed there's a pianola inside too.
Yes.
Do you play that?
Well, we encourage the patrons to have a little go at that. The kids love it.
What about yourself?
I do tinkle the ivories, but I'm usually too busy in the kitchen.
So who does the singing?
When?
when they tickle the ivories or the pianola?
Oh, well, I don't know. We actually have a pub choir here, but COVID put the fibre on that too.
So no Dame Nellie Melba, no Marilyn Monroe,
No, it's all
Katy
about,
Perry,
no,
anybody
we're
else like
just
that?
community singing group. We all sing as a group. No, there's no egos in this hotel.
So how many publicans has there been here?
I believe there's been about 29, Tim.
About 29 or 30?
Over 110 years of publicans.
And I think I've seen it. A lot of them are usually only here for a couple of years and then...
Apparently there's ghosts in the pub.
Ghosts?
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm not scared of them.
So the what sporting activities do they have around here besides the footy club?
There's footy, bowls, cricket, kids, Milo cricket, net set go for the kids, the netball. I think there's a gun club as well, and tennis, swimming.
Swimming?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You've got the channel there, haven't they?
Well, I've got a pool.
And they can swim in the channel.
No, you're not allowed to.
No? No time trials?
I don't think you're allowed to legally, but
That doesn't stop them, does it?
no. But we have a lovely little pool down there.
So how does everything, do you think, affects the communities, affects their mental health and everything else with everything been going on?
Well, I think farming communities rely so heavily on the weather, and just everything's got to be just right for a good bumper year, and like they've always got the stress of that. The best thing really is that blokes have got somewhere they can come and meet and talk.
You know the best place for that?
Oh yeah, I'm getting to that. It's not the bowls club.
It might be, but I don't think so.
It's more about the social interaction, you know, because farmers work on their own a lot.
Yes, they do.
And it can be fairly isolating. So they just pop in here, have a couple of beers, catch up with mates and check in on each other. It's good.
Yep. And you know why they do that? I do.
Get away from their wives?
Yeah, besides that. A lot of them bring their wives with them. No, it's because the pub is the main hub of any community that, you know, all those over legal age can go and have a beer and talk with their mates or talk with the publican and their wives, as you said. If they want to get away from them, they can stick them out in the ladies' lounge or leave them at home. And the wives can do the same with the husbands, leave them at home.
We have several book clubs in the area that they all have their little gatherings here.
Yeah.
Book clubs are another great thing for mental health.
That's good for the parents if they want to offset the kids for a couple of hours while they come and have a quiet beer during the day.
Not funny. Not funny. The other thing we have here is a pub choir, and that has been fantastic for mental health. Yeah, we started one when I came along here, and I've always been part of a singing group, so I thought, righto, this will make this happen. And
are they all ages?
All ages, kids to people in their 80s. One lady said to me, and it's stuck in my mind, she lives by herself in her 60s, and she said, ever since she's come to pub choir, she doesn't feel lonely anymore.
Well, that is really good.
Very powerful.
Definitely. And that's the benefits of having a pub in a town.
Yeah. But haven't met since March because of COVID. So
thank you very much for today, Julie. Thank you very much for the talk and the laughs.
What about the Colbinabbin?
Oh, definitely. I haven't finished yet. That'll come later when I finish the beer.
Thanks for your interest in Colbinabbin.
There you go, everybody. We've had a good chat with Julie, the publican. Now we're going to chat with Ron. Ron's been here for how long?
Oh, about 86 years, I suppose.
About 86 years?
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Not a fair while.
Well, it's better than being here for 5. No, you were born and bred here in Colbo?
No, born in Rushworth and haven't moved very far. Come here and, well, my family was here and they originally settled at Runnemede over the hill from here in 1894, I think it was. That was when one part of the family and the other part of the family, they moved here in 1858.
1858, so that's, oh crikey, I've got to get my maths into gear, so that's 162 years.
And you see whether you was paying attention when you was going to school.
So, with being born in Russia, you came to Colbinabbin?
Yep.
And you've been here for the rest of it so far?
Yeah, I've been here all my life. I can pretty well say that, apart from about 15 months I was in Bendigo and Shepparton there. We lived for a little while during the World War II. When Dad had to go and into the labour force and go and work where he was told to go work with. There's also, he worked on the prisoner of war camps out here at Tatura.
There was what?
Prisoner of war and internment camps out there at Tatura.
Out here?
Yep, there's about 8 camps altogether in this area here.
I didn't know that.
Oh, I've got photos and brochures of that too, you can look at later on.
I don't think many people would have known that
No.
there was POW camps around here.
Yep, there were internment camps as well.
So as you were growing up and everything else, and brothers and sisters, and what did you left school and you started on working life?
Well, I left school when I was 14 and I started working on the homestead, which was farming. I worked there for 4 years and I thought I could do better somewhere else, so I went back working with my dad, who's into building. We didn't build too many houses, but we built a lot of hay sheds and barns and a lot of renovation work, a lot of concrete work, built sheep dips, anything that we could get a job at, and dairies and things. We did a bit of bricklaying. We were sort of jack of all trades, really.
I sort of like back then you really had to be, didn't you?
That's exactly right, yep. That's the way it all worked out.
So you became a chippy?
Well, I claim to be a bit of a chippy, yes, but I was more a jack of all trades. But when you're doing a bit of renovations, you had to do a bit of plumbing, you had to do a bit of bricklaying, or a bit of cementing. What had to be done, you did it.
So, as you were growing up and everything else like that, you seen the introduction of the first TV. Because when they come out, what?
About 58, was it? 58,
Yeah,
something around about
57, 58.
Yeah.
And the currencies were different then too, weren't they?
Yeah, it was always feet and inches, and then it went to metres and centimetres.
Then you had your pounds and shillings and...
Yeah, and you soon learnt how to work the currency out, because you had to add up fairly quick and to see that you were getting the right change. So you soon learnt all those tricks anyhow.
Especially if you're a little one and you get sent down to the local haberdashery or something by mum and say, give me a pound of that, and here's a pound, and the kid comes back and mum says, that's the wrong change.
Yeah. Clip under the ear and then go back again and get the right change.
Yeah, it was. But I noticed you got something here about wool washing machinery.
Yeah, well, that wool washing machinery, it was put into the homestead, into the wool shed that I've just talked about.
Yeah.
And it was one of the few that was put in. They had to scour the wool, or they bought the wool in from other stations as well, and they worked on that machinery to scour the wool to send it overseas, and that's why it paid off in the long run to get that process done to the wool.
But over your lifetime being here in Colbinabbin, what are some of the things that from the time you were growing up here that has changed over the time?
Well, if you can look at our silos that we've got painted here, and look at the shed from over there to the other side of the silos, that was all wheat stacks along there, if you can remember. And I've got some of those photos there that I've shown you.
Yeah, I had a look at those before.
That was some of the wheat, and then when they put the silos in here, they went to barley growing, which was a very, very prosperous area for barley growing.
So some of the other things that might have changed around here over the times is, how many churches did they have here at one stage?
Well, we've still got 3 churches in the district. The Catholic Church is out to the south about 8 k's, and the Anglican Church, which is over the hill, which is about 3 k's over the hill, and the Uniting Church, which is just across the road. So we're very ecumenical. We all work together.
Has the school always been in the same spot that it's in?
3 years ago, we just had our centenary of the school, so it was 1917. It was first set up, but the original school was over at Colbinabbin West, which it dates right back to the early days, about 1868 or something like that. I think was early. That was with the German settlers.
You were saying earlier that this is not where the original town was built.
No, this was originally Colbinabbin East when it was settled up, but it was because of the railway line, and the railway line comes from Murchison to the Golden Valley line, and this was where it terminated here. The hill was too steep for it to get over the hill. It was to go onto the Bendigo-Echuca line, but it only got to here, and this is where it terminated.
Oh, at least they had rail come down here.
Yes, yeah. But it was only a lighter rail. It wasn't a heavy rail like on the main line, but it did carry a lot of produce, sheep and barley, and there was quite a few oats grown out to the south of Colbinabbin, and then there was sheep and cattle. We had sheep and cattle yards here that they used to truck the stock down to Melbourne. So it really all happened, and
so it was it was a bustling and slowly building little place.
Yeah, well, when they had the first lot of trains here, there was a passenger service here, a steam passenger service. It was once a week, and then it went to a motor train. But then with the motor transport, it died out, and then of course finally they took the rail away from here, which was a sad affair.
But they still have the rail for the grain and...
No, it's all motor transport here now.
So no trains come here at all now?
No, well they pulled the rail tracks up in about 1985, I think it was, or 1988, or something around about that. But
It doesn't help with a town that's trying to survive, does it?
That's right there. And if you look out over the silos there and you see the bridge that's across the channel, which is the Waranga Mallee Channel, that's the original railway bridge that they had. They put in to run the train across. And that was there, and it's still there. But the channel, it was opened in about 1907. That's when the first lot of water went down. And it was a fairly big scheme. It come from the Golden Weir, which is out near Murchison.
Oh yeah, that's further down the road, isn't it?
Well down the road, but I believe it's about 200, and if you look at the mileage, it's about 280 mile of channel that they put in. That's about from where it leaves the Golden Weir through to the Waranga Basin and here and up into the Mallee. That's how far the water goes.
That's a long way for one specific channel.
That's right there, how they engineered it to get it through.
That's a lot of water.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. But it runs, they turn it off early about, I think it's about March, I think it is. And then they put it back on into the summer flow in September.
Right, so it's a few months of the year the water in is really right down.
Really down, but we have a regulator in the channel there because they put in a big scheme here. They pump water from here back through to Epilock in Bendigo in the dry times. But I don't know whether they use it very much because they don't need it now.
So that's everything that's been going on over all the years in history of Colbinabbin and everything else, and people going off to the walls and everything else. So they actually have a war memorial here in Colbinabbin for people in the area that went off to serve?
Yes, we've got memorial registered down in our memorial centre down in the hall, and it's got honour rolls there, and it takes in all the conflicts that the men have been. I've been lucky enough, I've been in that age group right through, so I'm very interested in it, but that's where the honour rolls are, down in the hall.
Right, yep.
And they're all up to date too.
Well, it also helps preserve not only the history of Colbinabbin, but shows respect to those that came from Colbinabbin and the area that actually went off to fight and do what they could for the country. Yeah,
well, we have our annual Anzac Day service, and we have the school children involved in that, and we can get a hall full, which is about 180 people in the hall, to a service down there on Anzac Day, which is fairly big.
So how many people actually live in Colbinabbin, and how many go to the school?
Well, I think there's about 35 that goes to school, but it takes in a fairly wide area. There's a lot of kids come out of the country area, are bussed in. There's possibly 8 or 10 kids in, like virtually in the town, that go to the school, but all the rest are out and are bussed in. But the flag will fly again next Wednesday, which is Remembrance Day.
Yes.
And I've taken it on my incentive to look after the flag and put it up on the appropriate days.
And not a better gentleman could look after it.
Well, that's what I believe in anyhow, and I'll stick to my theory on what should happen.
Most definitely.
It's also put up on the day of a funeral here to let people know that there's been a bereavement in the district. Put up at half-mast, so that's another thing that I sort of tend to. That's an old tradition, really.
Yep.
That goes on.
That's just another thing that happens in a small community.
That's right. Yeah. No, we're very lucky, but the hotel has been very good, and the way it's been built up, it's a big asset. We're a fairly active sporting community. We've got a local shop or general store that's being worked on, that's going to be taken over with a community cooperative, so it's to take place, so it'll boost up the town. But we're going ahead because we've got a lot of vineyards in the area too, which is a very good area for wines.
What activities in the community are you involved with?
Well, I belong to the Uniting Church across the road. I've been secretary of the Cemetery Trust for 47 years. I inherited that from my dad. Not only was I the secretary, but I've dug a lot of graves down there for the different people that have passed away, unfortunately. I'm involved with St John Ambulance. I'm involved with the cricket club, the footy club. And I'm interested in the tennis, in the swimming pool. I used to look after the old swimming pool and in that one, and I worked around here and I stacked a fair bit of grain in the shed over here when it was being stacked. And I'm on the hall committee, so I think I've been a bit involved in things.
So keeping yourself active, that's good.
Yeah, oh well, you've got to go mad if when you're on your own, and you've got nobody to talk to.
Yeah.
At least you meet up with other people, but it's great to have the hotel going the way it is. And as I say, that the Colbinabbin is going ahead, it's not going backwards.
No, that's a good thing for a community like Colbinabbin.
Yeah.
They all stick together and they get around each other, and something happens.
That's exactly right.
And there's always a focal point somewhere in any town, whether it be the pub, the footy club, or the pool, or what.
Yeah, well, the footy club, they've got three sides that they, three grades in the footy club. Plus they have the ice kick, which is run. It's about 20 kids in it, and then they have with their cricket they have it going, and then they have a tennis clinic for the young ones. They've got a tennis club, bowls club. They did have a gun club here at one stage, but they had to transfer, and they're over in the Elmore Entertainment Centre now. They're still at the Colbinabbin Clay Target Club. So that's still active.
That'll be just out the road, wouldn't it?
Oh, it's over the hill towards Elmore. It's about 12 k's over now. But it was all set up, and of course they got their kindergarten, which they took over from the gun club, and it's a picture of what they've done down there, and a credit to the committee that run it.
Notice down the road here in front of one of the buildings just down the road, there's Spoonville. All the wooden spoons painted and things like people. What's that about?
Well, it's something, a bit of a trend, that's something the kids have done, and with the coronavirus, it set them up and giving them something to do.
Okay, Ron, we're going to thank you for your time and the talk today. It's been very, very insightful.
Town is more than a main street. It's more than just those few short blocks of takeaways and coffee shops and outlaws selling ice creams or antiques. They're just people trying to make a living and make the most of what they're given, and sometimes just making ends meet.